Welcome to Elliott with Cafe and another edition of Bitcoin and Ethereum technical analysis. Let's begin. It's been, again, a couple of weeks since last time we've talked, guys, and Bitcoin has hit, 57, almost 58,000. So, quite in line with some of our expectations from a couple of weeks ago as we were, watching those moving averages. So, pretty amazing to see how far we've come since March of last year. So quite amazing in here. And let's just kind of run through some of our counts. I'm going to show you, this kind of weekly chart that you haven't seen in a while. So overall, we're continuing to look at this as being, this kind of super cycle fifth wave. Under this red count, I have a few more longer term counts that I don't present on here, but overall I'm going to go with this one as being my primary interpretation, to just stay conservative on this move and just look at this thing to see if we can extend it as high as possible. But we need to keep in mind that, for example, this fifth wave cannot travel more than 400,000 because the moment that would happen, this fifth wave in here will become bigger than this third wave, and since wave one it's the longest wave in the sequence, this would be an invalid count. So I'll continue to kind of target moves higher in here in this red count interpretation, but I also keep in mind that this progressions in here could be wrong, and this could be a 1-2 1-2, and there's a couple of other scenarios that we have, but I'll stay with this for right now, just in terms of looking at this higher cycles in here. So for this larger third wave, we're actually looking for a completion near 112, between 112 and 120,000 for this larger third wave to kind of complete. And we're thinking we are just in the middle of or actually towards the end of finishing this third wave in here, because we're starting to approach some interesting levels. So I'll go from 1 week here to a 1 day chart, but I just kind of want you to keep in mind how the subdivisions are in here. So wave cycle 1, wave 2, then you have the subdivisions in here. You have this primary wave 1 and 2, primary wave 3, down in 4, and then wave 5. So we're still kind of fighting to complete this primary wave third, which is possible that it's going to push all the way here to at about 100,000, then pull back in the fourth, and then attack $100,000 again, maybe for a shorter fifth wave, or for something that would match the size of this wave 1. So we would look for something like that back in here, and then maybe towards the end of the year do one more push before the larger fourth wave cycle begins, and then we continue to push higher. So this is just a quick look on the weekly charts. Now dropping down to a 2-day chart, you can see some of these subdivisions. So I have in here this primary wave 1, and then I have the intermediate wave 1. So my sequence goes in a 1-2 1-2. You finish this third of a third in here. You've done this triangle here in this fourth wave, and now you're pushing higher here in this fifth wave intermediate. And some of the targets to the upside on this wave here, again, I'm looking all the way up here towards 100,000, but I am aware that we have some other levels that are coming here at about 65, between 62,000 and 65,000, where I'm looking at how much this fifth wave is actually traveling with the distance taken between wave 1 and wave 3, and that's 38%. And then I'm also kind of comparing this fifth wave with wave 1 and kind of see where that goes. So you can see 161 multiple of this wave 1 in here comes up at about 62,856. So I do have a nice clusters of zones in here, and if this fifth wave wants to finish up into this areas, I'm totally fine with it. And then we will pull back in a fourth again to kind of match the second that I have on here, and then one more push up higher to this 61.8, and all the way up here to about 110 to complete this move in here. This is where this third wave in here will travel 261.8 multiple of this third wave in here, 261.8 multiple of this wave 1. Right, so this is why I'm having these targets up into this area, and I think Bitcoin, it's kind of getting a little bit extended. Again, it might find some heavier resistance here at about 60,000 and then pull back. But we'll continue to watch it. I'm continuing to stay bullish on this market until, again, I have a reason not to. The market is trending really nicely. I show you a few other things. And for right now, kind of my bottom levels that I'm watching on a reversal are this 46,000. I have it here as 45,910. So let me show you a little bit on the blue count, which is just a little bit more of a play on the subdivisions of this larger advance in here. And instead of looking at it as a 1, 2, 1, 2, I'm measuring this wave 1 all the way up here, followed by the smaller second wave. And based on this, I have this larger projection where wave 3 would travel at about 161.8 multiple of this wave 1 at 63,000. So you can see how it kind of matches the other scenarios as well. So you look at the 1, 2, and then get into this kind of third wave all the way up there at about 63,000. The subdivisions of that third wave, however, are a bit more interesting because now you have wave 1 that's a little bit extended in here, right? Then you have wave 3 that's actually smaller than wave 1. And, by those rules, now wave 5 has to be smaller. This wave 5 has to be smaller than wave 3. Otherwise, we're going to get into a rule violation. As you guys know, wave 3 can never be the shortest wave in a sequence. So that means that we are only left here with the fifth wave to finish below this kind of 87,000. It can travel all the way up there without breaking the rules. But the cluster of fibs in here, you can also see here I have a 5 versus 3 as well. So that comes at about 62 to 63,000. So I think these levels as they're coming up here are important. Remember, if you watch some of my previous videos, we kind of identify this 42K as being a pretty good area of resistance where the markets are going to turn from. And my next level that I'm watching here near term is this 62 to 63,000. All right, so kind of finishing off with that, let's jump on to the next slide that I have on here where I'm taking a look a little bit at the moving averages, and this is on a weekly chart. We are obviously super extended now above this 200 week moving averages, but nothing compared with 2017 yet, right? So you can see the rise in price that happened when we kind of hit a top, and we're I think there's still more room to go in here before we start to scream that we're quite overbought. For right now, the moving averages, the 21, the 50, and the 200 week, they continue to nicely point higher. We are in a very trending market. We're actually just kind of breaking out, and as you can see in here, we just began the year. So I'm really interested what happens with the price for this 2021, right? Because you've had a period of bear market in here between 2018 and 2019, with the first part of 2020 with the sell-off, and now you're kind of starting to trend again into this market, which tells me that we can probably push all the way up higher towards 100,000, maybe even higher. This is on the weekly charts. On the daily charts, we're looking pretty good. We had this bigger extension at about 190% above the 200-day moving average. We are back at those percentages again. So if you measure from here to here, we're again at about 190. Maybe we're going to pull back in here a little bit. We'll see. Or we're going to push up there to about 60, 62, 63 before we reverse. But you can see how we have a nice reaction here from the 50-day moving averages, right? It was a perfect bounce. I talked about this as well, because these are levels that more of a longer term traders, macro traders, look to initiate and to add to their positions where you get more towards the value in the market, and that is the 50 followed by the 21-day, which is more of a momentum trading, and this is more of a larger positioning. And then you have this the super long term that watch the 200-day moving averages, and that's at about 20,000 right now. So that's a pretty big support right there. Let's jump a little bit onto the candlestick charts, and I want to show you one of the slides that I presented into my room. I think it was back in November 2030. You can see down here, and back then I was a little bit I was obviously optimistic that we were about to break that $20,000 mark, and we were looking at this thing to kind of, based on a time elapse, and I'll show you on the next slide, to get towards this kind of 42,000 into the June of 2021. So we were looking at some reverse fib multiples between this drop and then for this advance in here, and it was coming at about 138%, was just slightly higher of 40,000. And then obviously we've had this fib projection from the bottom of the second wave. So 1, 2, the fib projection at 161.8 would come to at about 42,000. So everything was kind of pointing in that direction. Just in terms of a time elapse, I was thinking that that's going to happen more towards the summer. And sure enough, here we are just a few months later, where the market obviously hit those levels, 42K, they were just in there. And then if you watch my time projections, I'm looking at about 100% in distance traveled between this wave 1 and wave 2, and then compare that in terms of distance with the wave 3, right? And 100% of that move happens somewhere in June, I think in the middle of June 2021. So we're way kind of ahead of those targets. I mean, we can still kind of, this move can continue to extend all the way up there in terms of time projections. And I also have a pretty, well viewed video. I think I might have already, 30,000 views or something on that time fib projections on the TradingView software, which a lot of people are familiar with, but they don't know exactly how to use it. So if you watch that, you'll see kind of how I make those projections in time and how I'm looking at those things. So again, I continue to stay bullish. I think this weekly charts look really, really good. All these candles, as you can see in here, they're pretty bullish, and it looks like we might close this week as well. So there's nothing in here that tells me, at least yet, that we have some kind of a reversal or something happening in terms of candlestick and price action. Coming back here to a daily chart as well, you have this kind of super nice rise in price that's kind of choppy and a little bit overlapping, but it's kind of building a ramp for the next leg higher. And you can see that back in November there was something similar that happened before you had the major explosion. So anytime you get periods of this ascending tight ranges price action, you expect explosions in the direction of the predominant trend. And sure enough, this is what happened back here, and this is what we're doing right now as well. Now you can notice there was a period of consolidation, again followed by a rise in price, but I think this will continue to lead to a little bit higher prices, again towards 60 to 65,000, and then maybe we get into that fourth wave and then push again towards 100K. So spending a little bit more time on Bitcoin, let me show you something that worries me slightly. And this is a little bit of the seasonality into the market. So, I was talking into our pro room, for quite a while that and I was talking about this, I think, since December, that, Bitcoin is usually seasonally kind of continues to be bullish until the middle of January. And then you enter into a period of consolidation and correction till the end of January, the first week of February, and then you get bullish again. Until the end of February, and that's all in the kind of the seasonality charts that I provide for my members. And then we're looking in here, for example, at the month of March, you can see up here as after the 8th of February, after the 8th of March. So the first week of March continues to remain pretty bullish in here, and then towards the second part, for the last kind of 3 weeks, I should say, of March, Bitcoin continues to, it's going to be pretty weak. So, maybe this will coincide with that fourth wave that I'm watching. So maybe we're going to hit 60,000 all the way into the first week of March, and then maybe correct, 10, 15,000 from that to the end of March, and then we're going to start to move higher again. So just kind of keep that in mind, as you're looking at the charts overall. All right, let's see on my next slide. In here, we're moving to Ethereum, and Ethereum, it's a little bit kind of underperforming on a longer scale. So if you look at the 10-year difference between Ethereum and Bitcoin, and I'll show you that in a second, Ethereum continues to lag Bitcoin on those charts, and just by looking at this, you can see that obviously we've broken this all-time size of 1422 from the end of 2017, beginning of 2018, and we're barely just kind of testing this breakout. We've had in Ethereum, right? It was a pretty big period of here of this kind of sideways movement for 2-3 years. Started this uptrend. We're looking at this as a wave 1 and a wave 2, and then I'm looking for this larger third wave that's still in progress. And I was saying at the beginning of the year and last year as well, when we kind of starting to trend into the Ethereum, that my targets for Ethereum for this year, they're $4,000. Now you can see the reason for that is because based on some of these fib projections, I'm looking at about 161.8 multiple of this wave 1 from the bottom of the wave 2, and that comes in at about 37.12. So this is kind of my target in here for this year. We might go even higher. I have this kind of larger third wave that travels 261.8 multiple of this wave 1 from this wave 2 that comes in all the way back there at about 4,900. So just looking at the way of this chart looks, and the fact that you've gone through a couple of years here of sideways movement in Ethereum, and we're just breaking out, I think these are very, very realistic targets. And a longer term, this would be just wave 1 of the larger advance in Ethereum. So I'm looking at this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in here. Very nice triangle in here. Double zigzag or zigzag in here in a wave 2. So this is a second wave, and then you start again, and we are actually in the middle of this larger cycle, third wave. So I think Ethereum has a lot of potential to get above 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 in the years to come. And this is just we're just kind of building the first wave 1 of that entire cycle, third wave that's about to develop. So along the way we'll get pullbacks. Right now, obviously this 1422, it's support, and if I go here to a 1-day chart, you can see, so that's 1, 2, 1, 2 in here. Again, you can also play a count where actually that's a 1, that's a 2, and then you have another 1, 2 subdivisions, 3, 4, and 5, 4, and 5, and you continue to push higher. But basically, both are kind of correct. I'm going to go with this for right now, and kind of targets from a cleaner perspective. Again, this 3,700 in Ethereum. We might get a little bit of a pullback, maybe, this third wave. In here, we're going to get somewhere, maybe another fourth, and then push back up higher. But overall, I continue to favor, the upside in Ethereum. I think it's got pretty good potential. So let me move back here to my next slide. And this is the moving averages on a 1 week. Again, beautiful cross in here between the 50 and the 200 week moving averages. Actually in here, and these are just kind of pointing straight up, and I love how this looks, and you can see how, even prior, right, that the 21 week provides pretty good support once you get good breakouts out of there. And for right now, I think this is at about $917, and on any kind of pullbacks, this should offer support. So, if you're looking to purchase Ethereum longer term, just kind of watch these moving averages on a weekly basis, because they will offer you pretty good guidance in kind of building your portfolio forward. Going from from the weekly charts here to the daily, you can see how also on the daily, right, on a shorter term momentum trading, the 21-day moving averages provide good support on the trending markets. The markets are clearly moving higher here, so everything kind of points up. 50-day moving averages as well. 200-day, it's at about 690. Remember that the 21 week, it's higher than that. And just use a combination of daily and weekly moving averages. Keep you on the right side of the market, and you trade with the momentum. And instead of looking down, you continue to look up based on the averages of these prices. So right now the 50-day moving average is about 1405. All right, so these continue to look good. Let's look a little bit at the difference here between, on a relative comparison. So this is a 10-year price appreciation of Bitcoin versus Ethereum, and you can see how Ethereum, it's lagging quite a lot on a 10-year basis. Will it ever catch up to Bitcoin, or will Bitcoin continue to rally while Ethereum tries to catch up with it? Remains to be seen. But I continue to think that both of these are extremely going to be extremely well performing assets in the future. And Ethereum network is also pretty strong and gets more and more value as the time passes by. I know there's a lot of fundamentals and fights in there, and proof of work, proof of stake, whatever, all those things that I'm not super comfortable talking about it, because I'm not I'm more of a technical trader, than looking at the fundamentals. But I know there's a lot of build that happens in those projects, and just kind of based on these charts, I think Ethereum also has a pretty good chance of moving much higher and catching up to Bitcoin on there. And then you can see, for example, on the 5-year performance chart, actually Ethereum outperforms Bitcoin, but quite a bit here. And they continue to look very strong. So I wanted to take you a little bit on my Optima software, because that's where I do a little bit of the rotation and the strength between these markets, and I use that on a lot of other assets, not just between Bitcoin and Ethereum. We use it on overall assets into the stock market and positioning. We're looking at the sectors, we're looking at the fiat currencies, and then pretty much every single day on what's the strength of the alts into the market. And I'll take you up here to kind of show you that. And I'm going to go to my RRG. So you can see in here I have 4 quadrants, right? And by now, if you watch my videos, you're familiar with this. This is a quadrant where things are outperforming the benchmark. So I have a benchmark in here, that's the US dollar index, and then this is the leading quadrant, this is the weakening quadrant, this is the lagging, and this is the improving. So things kind of rotate between these quadrants and move around in terms of strength. And right now I have the dollar index right in the middle, and you can see that both Ethereum and Bitcoin, they're heavily, obviously, outperforming the US dollar. And this is a kind of a 1-week relative rotation. If I go to a 1 day, I will show you that as well, and I would have to pull it much higher. You can see how Ethereum, it's kind of it has been just kind of stalling in here, let's say, for the past few days, while Bitcoin has been kind of catching up and breaking higher. And I think Ethereum, it's about to move higher as well. Let me show you what happens here between, just very simple, between Ethereum and actually Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is the benchmark, and this is kind of how Ethereum moves relative to Bitcoin here from some of these quadrants. So each of this dot in here is 1 week, and you can see how it moved basically from, this is on a weekly basis, right? It moved from this kind of lagging performance into improving, and now into leading on a weekly basis. If I show you on the daily, this is where we are. And where are you, Ethereum? Oh, there it is. It's right in here. So on a daily basis, it's still kind of lagging, as you can see, as Bitcoin is breaking higher. So, but right now we're kind of pointing, we're pointing a little bit towards west, but we're also moving higher. So we're catching up momentum. We're losing a little bit of relative strength, but I think, we're going to continue to push higher in here. All right, so this is what I wanted to show you in terms of relative rotation. And now kind of going back quickly here to my slides, I want to take you back and just, hey, listen, guys, don't forget to sign up for this channel and hit the subscription button, maybe the notification bell. Don't forget to like the video as well. And, if you want to visit us and give us a try in what I offer to my clients in here, this is kind of my so-called menu on the Elliott Wave Cafe, and we do, every single day we have chart updates. Every 2-3 hours I talk about the markets, about alts, about, Bitcoin. We cover, S&P 500, gold, oil, the US dollar index, what happens in the currency markets as well. So there's a constant flow of information and talk about the markets in general, and I present, counts and things that are interesting, and that I watch and that I'm involved in as well. I have a stock portfolio that I talk about as well, and we do option trading as it kind of fits the overall portfolio in there. And then we trade alts as well. And I have a room where we do constant trade alerts, so you can see everything that I take, when I open, what my stop is, what my targets, and then I explain that in the daily videos that I take, along with how we prepare, how we execute, and how we manage all these trades. And there's a chat room and people talk and share ideas and all that. So this is, if you want to take a trial on that, the link is below, and you can come and visit us on there, and you'll become much better trader if you try that. You will see. Also, this is an Elliott Wave course that I have as part of a 3-month subscription, and it's kind of walks you through all the aspects of Elliott Wave, and I kind of get into details in there, and I explain what the counts are and what the formations, and there's a lot of good information in there about the Elliott Wave, and kind of prepares you to study and to know exactly what I'm talking about when I do my daily videos, and why I have reasons for the executions and what I do into my trading as well, and the way I look at the market. So listen, studying Elliott Wave, it's it's a complex endeavor. It's not a simple thing. So you got to put time and effort into it, but it's one of the best methodologies out there, and it really develops you as a trader and as a macro thinker as well, because you can see how kind of trends develop into the market. You're patient, you know your setups, and you become much more confident in your trading, and you start to lose some of that emotion that is associated with trading, because Elliott Wave gives you a pretty good perspective of where you are in certain sequences. So it's really worth it to put time and effort and to learn, or at least to sit next to somebody that already kind of learned all this and continues to learn, but it will kind of shorten up your learning curve a lot. So before talking too much about it, again, I want to thank you a lot for watching this channel, subscribing, and again, give us a try. And otherwise, I'll see you in a couple of weeks with another Bitcoin and Ethereum update. All right, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.